2 years after buying it at launch and after literally buying it twice, I still feel like the Fujifilm XT4 is the perfect camera for me. Let me tell you why. So before I dive into this, if you're watching this video, you're probably very much like me. And what this means is I'm always trying to come up with an excuse to buy some new tech. I'm always looking into new cameras, new lenses, new laptops, like it's religion. Before I go to bed, I watch at least 3 videos, reviewing the next thing. And one of the things that I've been looking at lately, meaning the last 6 months, is the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema cameras. And I was always like, oh, this is so great. I still have not managed to convince myself to buy one because this camera still does everything that I want it to do. I have not come across any other camera in 2 years' time that warranted spending money to get something that would be better for me, for my use case, or that I would actually enjoy using more. Now, let me tell you why. I'm going to try to talk about, why I chose the XT4 in the first place, how I've actually been using it, what kind of accessories that I ended up choosing for it, and why it matters that I actually bought it twice. So why did I choose it in the first place? When I was looking into buying a new camera, just when the pandemic was breaking out, I was actually looking for something that would really help me get better quality images to help support my guiding business, my mountain guiding business. And what I needed was something that was really good at making good photos, was also very capable at making video, was sturdy, had a small format, had really nice colors, and would be really, dependable and enjoyable using. And that was just around the time when the XT4 was about to come onto the market. And this hybrid thing, so this thing that's really good at both making very high quality photos and very high quality video, really caught my eye. And at the time, it was the best thing in its range that I could come up with. Other reasons for me picking the Fujifilm, of course, is the colors, the great Fuji colors. I used to be a Canon shooter. I used to own Canon DSLRs. But when I compared the Fuji files to the Canon files, I was just like, whoa, this is a different league. Not only that, these Fuji cameras also come with these film simulations, which I don't really use while shooting photos. I like to, shoot raw. But then you can also apply those film simulations later in software, and just the colors that you get out of this camera. And by applying some of these simulations in post, for me, it's unrivaled. I don't know any other camera brand that produces colors that way. Another thing that I really, really liked, and that is a classic with Fuji, is the physical dials, having like an aperture ring and setting the ISO and the shutter speed, etc. with mechanical dials. For a lot of people, this might seem like gimmicks, like it's a toy. Like you'll enjoy doing it a couple of times and then you'll just like using buttons and wheels like with other cameras. For me, that's not the case. And there must be other people like me out there. I truly enjoy setting my camera using these physical dials. And I really, truly enjoy, when I need to quickly glance at what I'm actually doing. I don't need to like start peering into the screen. I can literally look at those physical dials and see what I'm set at. Aperture, ISO, shutter speed, and then use these clicky dials to change it. I love it. I absolutely love it, and I still love it to this day. Another thing that I really, really liked about the XT4 is the fact that it has dual SIM slot. And this is not for backing up reasons. This is just to have like a massive capacity. So I use one slot to record video, and I use one slot to record photos. And I don't remember ever needing to change out my SD cards, even while being on really, really long trips and shooting a lot. This thing had just, always had the capacity to carry me through very, very big amounts of use and recording. Now, another thing about capacity is the batteries. So the predecessor of the XT4, the XT3, is also a very capable camera. But a big upgrade that this thing had is, of course, the batteries. And I ended up buying 2 extra batteries that I take as spares. But to be honest, I don't use this thing like for full day professional shoots, but I do use this thing, on full days out where I shoot a lot. and I don't remember running out of battery within a single day ever. And that was often with a lot of shooting. Now, these batteries have always come in handy when I'm on multi-day trips, and of course I need to switch them out. But I really like the battery capacity of this camera. I would be very surprised if the average user would find the battery capacity of this camera limiting. And then finally, the IBIS, the image stabilization that this thing is capable of, like even in low light, something that APS-C cameras are supposedly not good at, which is absolute nonsense in this case. Even in low light, I can go down to like 1/30th of a second and this thing will still snap stable, usable shots. So the IBIS as well has been great. So being a very good hybrid shooter with a compact form, good battery capacity, good storage capacity, good colors, this thing has just performed as promised ever since I got it. Now, how was I using it? So I'm not the type of person that often goes out to, shoots and only shoots. Like, of course, occasionally I do, but most of the first year of me owning this camera was as something that I would use run and gun, literally. So I would be guiding, I'd be wanting to, shoot images of my clients or landscapes, something that I could use to promote what I was actually doing. So I'd be doing my thing, and this thing would be either in my hand most of the day or snapped onto my backpack strap using a Peak Design clip, which is one of the accessories that I really like. And it would be in use constantly in a very run and gun way, meaning like I wouldn't really have the time to like ask people to pose in a certain way or like appreciate a setting and then take a long time to actually expose for it and make the shot. No, it would be literally out of hand, going like boom, boom, really quick, trying to gather images like that. And also this thing could not be too big or too heavy for me to carry like this. So run and gun use as part of a multi-day trekking setup, this thing proved to be very, very capable and functional for me. There was one thing that I actually forgot to mention. So this current form here with the 23mm f2 prime on it, I really love the fact that these Fuji primes, that they are actually made for the APS-C system. So you're not running around with an APS-C camera and then using full frame lenses on them. I love the fact that Fuji just said like, no, we're just gonna skip the whole full frame thing. We'll just let people squabble over that. We're just gonna focus on making really good medium format cameras and really good hybrid APS-C cameras. And this is exactly what they did. So the fact that you can have like these tiny but very high quality prime lenses made exactly for this form factor is great. And these lenses, they perform just magnificently. This thing here has just been nothing but brilliant and has been at my side for dozens, if not hundreds of days so far. Now, another thing that I really wanted to do was I wanted to get into video, and I wanted to make like informational videos. So like help my clients how to pack, how to know about weather, yada, yada. So this thing has also served as a part of my YouTube setup, and it has just been perfect. I mean, this thing shoots 10 bits video. And if I use an external monitor, like external recorder, like a Ninja V, it actually shoots 10-bit 422 video. So if you don't know what this is, it basically means this shoots incredibly high quality video files in 4K up to 60 frames per second. And when you think about the future, if you think about how people consume videos, because I produce photos and videos to be consumed online, meaning Instagram, Facebook, maybe something embedded in a website, and YouTube, of course, for years and years and years to come, 4K is probably going to be the max that people actually consume it. How many people do you know with 4K monitors? How many people do you know that watch, only 4K content on their televisions? Most people consume content on their phones or on lower resolution computer screens. And then 4K is still going to be plenty for years to come. The image quality that comes off of this sensor is still more than enough for years to come. This thing is still, after 2 years of checking out things to spend my money on, incredibly competitive. Now, what else did I choose here? So I like this 23mm f2 for its compact, relatively wide angle form factor. And it has just been perfect for my travel photography, for using as a run and gun thing at my side while traveling with other people. I think this would be the same for most people. It's not the perfect portrait lens. It's not a perfect landscape lens, but it is more than good enough at most things. I also have the 56mm f1.2, which I rarely use. And now I've really gotten into using the Viltrox 33mm f1.4, which is currently filming this on an XT3. But still, for like my everyday travel, everyday carry, this 23mm has been great. Another thing that has really upped the game here has been a circular polarizer filter for it, which really helps in bright days and landscape scenarios. And then another thing that I really enjoy is this small rig cage. Now this small rig cage mainly serves as an ergonomic extension for me. I didn't really like the shallow grip. So now with this cage here, it really gives me plenty of grip to comfortably use this thing and not feel like it's going to slip out of my hands all the time. And then when I do use this thing as part of like a video setup, the cage is really useful for just snapping it onto an Arca Swiss plate capable mount, or just mounting stuff on top of it. But mainly, I have to be honest, this cage has mainly been to just extend the ergonomics of this Fuji XT4. Now, this brings me to buying it twice. Why does it matter? So after my first summer of using it, near the end of the summer, I unfortunately got my XT4 stolen in Chamonix, France. To this day, I still don't know what happened, but one moment the camera was there, the next it wasn't. And I was absolutely heartbroken. Like, I had invested a lot of money into buying this thing. I really loved it a lot. It had the 60mm f1.4 on it, which is almost €1,000 worth of lens. And one moment it was there, the next it was gone. I was absolutely gutted. But fortunately, I had bought insurance when purchasing this device. So I was covered for the majority, the biggest part of that sum that I lost back there. Now, this was an interesting moment in my camera career because that actually gave me the opportunity to start anew. After really using this thing for months and months, very intensively, and just me being me, always checking out other stuff, that could have been the moment when I said, you know what, let's go for something else. Maybe, buy a Sony or get a Canon, because I had no reason to just get this thing again. I could have switched systems, but this was not the case. At that time, I had started to love this camera so much that I just wanted to have another one right away. And I still to this day do not regret this decision. So here we are. We're starting at the start of 2022. This is almost 2 years of me owning and using the Fujifilm XT4. And still, I have not found a reason for me to justify buying a new camera. There's just no other camera out there that actually does this thing that I wanted to do in this way that I enjoy so much. Which means, once again, just hybrid media, video and photo to be posted on the internet and to be used in a very spontaneous everyday carry run and gun way. This thing produces any kind of media I want to produce in plenty of quality. And I absolutely love this Fujifilm XT4. So if you're an XT user and you're thinking about moving, maybe you feel like I do. If you are thinking about buying another camera and you're looking at the Fujifilm XT4, well, different people enjoy using different cameras. But for me, if you're anything like me, then the Fujifilm XT4 is going to be an excellent choice for you. I really love these things. And then maybe some closing words. If you're on a tighter budget, the Fujifilm XT3, which is its predecessor, is still a very, very capable camera at a very good price. And what you also need to know is that there are rumors that Fujifilm is going to release the next generation of X-mount cameras at some point this year, meaning an XT5, but more likely an XH2, which, you know, if you're new to the system, you could probably jump into that. But if you're on a tighter budget, these things are probably gonna drop in price considerably once the new X-mount camera comes out. And then this, in my opinion, is still going to be a super good, high performance, good value for money camera that will last you and hopefully me for many years to come. Now, that's the end of my love song for my Fujifilm X-T4. Just go out there, enjoy using whatever you have, and see you on the next video.